And today we would like to introduce you Jana Moudrá from Czech Republic, and today she will talk about Dart, the language for your next project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Jana Moudrá, and I'm really excited to be here to speak about Dart. So hello again. Today I will talk here about Dart. Once upon a time, there was a developer who wanted to create a web app. No, not today. Today I will not share any fairy tale with you, because today I want to share a real story of mine about why developing Dart makes me really happy and productive developer. And before we start, I want to ask, who of you ever heard about Dart? Thank you very much. And who have you ever tried Dart, wrote some line of code? Thank you very much. So, let's start. What is Dart? Dart is a programming language by Google. It's fully open source, so you can find it on GitHub, you can explore the SDK, you can read the code, you can, for example, contribute, and so on. Dart is really easy to learn. You can take a look at a few examples, and you are prepared to write your own applications. Dart is really modular. With Dart, you can use a lot of libraries, you can use your own, you can use libraries of the others, you can find everything on the GitHub, you can contribute to other libraries, and so on. Dart has a really great tools. Dart has a static analyzer, there's a lot of editors which you can use with Dart. There's a Dart VM which you can use for development, and lots of tools which are part of the SDK which you can use. So let's learn Dart together in a few minutes. So this is like your first hello world in Dart. As you can see, it's really simple. Here's the main function. It's like usual, like in other languages. It's called main. And in that you can see a simple print to hello world. When you will run it, the code will run and print the hello world into your console, and the main function is also the first thing which will run in your Dart application. But, well, usually we don't write that simple application because we want to write much more bad code, and we need to learn how to program in Dart. So how to write a class, because usually we are working with objects. So this is a simple definition of a class with the name person. The person has two attributes. One is name, the other is age. The name is string, as you can see, and age is int. And also you can see their constructor. We have a little syntactic sugar there, because what you want to do with constructor, you want to just simply assign the value of to attribute name and to attribute age. And here you can see a really nice syntactic sugar for this, because the assignment is done for you. Creating of the new object is really simple. We'll just call new person with a proper parameters, and then you will assign it to some variable. So, but you could see in the previous slide that the name and age both had types. Name had string, age had int. But with Dart you can select, because in Dart types are completely optional. So if you, for example, don't like to use types, you can use var instead. So you can write var name, var age, and then it works. You can use it, but this solution has some kind of disadvantages, because using types is much more better for documentation, and when you, for example, take a look at the code, you can directly see the type and what variable will be in that variable. As you can also see that when I will create an object, I can also assign it to some variable which is of type var, because I'm not using types. For me, personally, I like using types because, as I said, it's better for documentation. I see directly what's in the variable, and it's better for documentation. But about the default value, every variable in Dart is an object, so the default value is null. We always know the value of our variable because the default value is null. If I will put there something different for string, I'm using strings. For vars, I can use anything because it's without a type. But there is no undefined in Dart. So you always know, or you can expect, what will be in the variable. Well, when we can use types, we can also check correctly the exact type of the variable. So we can, for example, check if the variable is of type string, if the operator is. It's very easy. If name is string, we'll, for example, print it. In this example, you can also see a string interpolation. Because in Dart, we are like using strings, and the variables in strings we are using through the string interpolation. It's when I want to use the variable name there, I will just write there $sign name in the string, and it works. So now there is a little example of how you normally write code in your life. You're just creating new objects, you're assigning values, you call functions, and other stuff. So here you can see an example of object animal, and I will, for example, assign here the attribute, the value ended to attribute name. Then I will assign the value of 2 to attribute age, and then, for example, I will assign the number of legs to the value 4. But when you will take a look at this example, it's just a lot of code, because you are just repeating the animal word here, and also it could be done much more better. And because we are in Dart, we can do it better. Like this. In Dart, we can use the double dot operator, and with double dot operator, you don't have to still repeat the name of the variable. You will just you will do a chain, you will append the assignment of attributes or calling the function through the double dot operator. And also, as you can see, the semicolon is at the very end of this assignment. So this is double dot operator. Well, let's take a look at another example from your life, from the developer life. Let's see, we have a toString function. We want to print, where we call toString on our object. We want to print some string representation for our object. So we have a toString function. The toString function returns string. So to be able to write this, I need to write open the curly brace, ending curly brace, and return, and I will return the string. But, well, it's a really easy thing. So why should I use so much lines for this thing? But hello, we are still in Dart, so we can do this. We don't have to use curly braces, we don't have to use return for very simple returns. We just simply use this arrow operator. And we can be even more lazier when coding, because Dart has this kind of really nice stuff. So for me, Dart, when I'm talking about Dart, Dart is for me a productivity. Because I can be more lazier, I don't have to write lots of code, because I can use these kind of nice things like sugars and so on, to do much nicer, cleaner code. So why Dart makes me so much productive? Well, in Dart, there are no language insanities, like you always know which is the value in the variable. The scope is meaningful, there is no hoisting in Dart, and everything is meaningful. When I do some really bad thing, the static checker will say me, you can't do this. And this is the thing I really like about Dart. Also, Dart has a really very much of great documentation. There's a lot of tutorials which you can use for learning Dart, or there's a lot of interesting articles about advanced topics, or there's API documentation for source codes, or I can browse the source code to see the implementation. There is also a lot of tools and libraries. Tools help me to develop the application, and libraries help me also to develop the application, but they help me with the thing that I don't have to write the code by myself, because I can use the library from the other person, from the Dart team, or for example, I can write my own library, which I can share on GitHub, and other developers can use it. And also, there are some kind of like productivity boosters in Dart, which makes me much more productive developer. So, let's take a look at one of the most important tools, which is called pub in Dart, and it's like a package manager for your application. With pub, you can manage your dependencies for your application, and also you can provide some metadata for your application. For example, name of the library, author of the application, some kind of description, and so on. But the most important thing is the dependencies, because I want to use the other libraries, because I don't want to implement everything by myself. So I can put their libraries, and then I will run pub-get, and all the libraries are downloaded for me. They are in the project now, so I can use them. It's also a really nice thing that when some kind of library uses another library, I don't have to care about the dependencies of the other library, because all the needed libraries are downloaded for me. So this is pub. In Dart, there is lots of libraries provided in the Dart SDK, so you don't have to implement lots of things, because it's waiting for you, it's waiting for your usage. So, for example, when you want to work with HTML, there's a library called Dart HTML, which is prepared for you to use to work with DOM, with events, local storage, and with lots of stuff. There is also a library, for example, for mathematics, Dart Math, or for collections, so you don't have to implement some kind of collections like QE and other collections by yourself, because they are prepared for you. And also there is a library for SVG, for the people which are, for example, interested in WebGL. There is a library for WebGL, so you can just directly use it. It's really easy. Well, and I will show you another like productivity boosters for Dart, because I think they are really awesome. So, usually we want to do some asynchronous operation, like, for example, we want to create a request to the server. The operation is asynchronous because I will create a request here, for example, for the JSON file to the server, and in some time in the future, I will get back the JSON and I can work with that. So in Dart, we are using future. So here in the example, you can see that I will call getString on HTTP request for the JSON, and then I will get the future object. And when the value of the JSON, when I will get the JSON from the server, and when the value is provided to me, then the feedAnimals function is called with the value with the JSON. Maybe you can see, you know this code from JavaScript, from promises. It's like a really new thing in JavaScript, but with Dart, this thing is here from the very beginning. But this thing should like prevent the callback hell, but sometimes it can be held too. So we have something different in Dart. This is like a relatively new thing, and we can use async await. That means that we can write the code like in a more linear way, but it's still asynchronous, and it's much more readable, it's much more nicer to write it, and so on. So here you can see, what is the first thing I need to do? I need to do a request to the server. So I will do HTTP request get string for the JSON. But I need to asynchronously wait for the value, for the JSON from the server. So I'll write there await. So it will like asynchronously await, and when I will get the value, when I will get the JSON, it will be provided into my variable called result, and after that the feedAnimals function is called with the parameter with the variable result. So this is much more cleaner code, much more readable, much more nicer. But when we are using await, you like heard that I said also async, because when I start using the await, I also need to mark my function to async. It's only you will mark your function with keyword async in the like header of the function, and then it works and it's nice. So like the another thing, like really practical. Usually you could have, for example, some objects of value of null. But when you start like calling methods, getting attributes from an object which is null, you can get an error, or you'll get an error because you can't call methods on objects which are null. So we have to do such kind of check. If person, in this example, if person is not null, then call the method on it. Call the say hello. But again, it's not really nice. I have to write 3 lines of code for a very simple stuff, for a very simple thing. It can be much better. And again, this is like relatively new thing in Dart. We have the nullable operators, which is the completely same thing like you could see in the previous slide. This thing does that if person is not null, it will call the say hello method on it. Easy. 1 line, it's really nice. And that's completely not all, because there's too many things in Dart which makes you much more productive and to write much more, to write your code much more faster. Maybe you heard about Dart that it's like for the client side, but this is not completely true because you can use Dart also on the server side, for command line applications, and maybe in future on mobile. So take a look at it. With Dart on client side, we just write a web application for our browser. So we are using DOM, we are working with HTML elements, and we are doing some nice stuff there. But to be able to run our Dart code in browser, we need to compile it to JavaScript. But don't worry, it's easy because the compiler is part of the SDK. So when you will download Dart, compiler is here, compiler is there in the SDK, so you can run it on your code and it will compile the JavaScript code for it. When using Dart on the client side, there's also lots of libraries which you can use, which will make your life easier and better. And also, this is like, again, relatively new thing. There's a new library for JavaScript interoperability, so in the latest Dart version. So you can like interop with JavaScript code from your Dart application. So, for example, you can like port a JavaScript library to Dart. So let's take a look at some libraries. When I'm working with DOM, the Dart HTML library, which is part of the Dart SDK, is enough. It has a lot of stuff to do. You can browse it on the API. It's really powerful. Then you can, for example, for templates, there is a mustache templates library, or there is a port of Angular 2 to Dart, and also they are working on the port of Polymer library to Dart. Polymer Dart is now in some kind of release candidate stuff, so probably it will be released really soon. So this is for the client. Now we can also use Dart on server to write server applications. Here we don't have to compile it to JavaScript, we can just directly write code for Dart VM. Dart VM is really fast, so we can benefit from this. On server side, there's also a lot of frameworks, so we don't have to solve really basic stuff like routing, HTTP requests, and so on, because there is a lot of libraries which you can use. And also, there are libraries for integration with databases, so you can use them, and then you are happy. About the server-side libraries, the most important is Dart.io, which is the part of the Dart SDK. This is for some kind of very basic stuff. And if you want to be more productive and you don't want to implement by yourself, there is a lot of libraries which you can use. One of them is, for example, RPC, which you can use for creating RESTful APIs in Dart. It's really easy to use. You just can write your API in a couple of minutes. Then there is a Redstone, which is kind of framework which solves a lot of stuff, or Shell, or the others. So there's a lot of like libraries, frameworks ready to use for Dart on server side. Also, you can use Dart with App Engine on managed VMs, or there is a library for Firebase. You can also write a command line applications with Dart. I really like it because I can write like a simple tool with my favorite language. I can like work with files, I can copy files, I can run other processes, I can run other applications through my Dart command line application. I can create tools because I will assign them like the name for my command, and then I can run the Dart command line application through some kind of command. And I really like it because I like developing in Dart, and it's really easy to do so, so I really like writing command line applications in Dart. And then let's take a look on the mobile. It's like much more will be in future, but they are working on it. There are two projects, two libraries to take a look. One is Flutter and one is Fletch. Fletch is about using Dart on embedded devices. Now it works on Raspberry Pi, so you can like control Raspberry Pi 2 with Dart. They are working on it, and it's still in development. You can try it, you can send them feedback, and so on. The other project is Flutter. Flutter's goal is to create high-performant mobile applications with Dart. So you will create an application in Dart for Android and iOS, and it's not a web wrapper, so it's really like native, but you are only implementing in one language, and it will be for both iOS and Android. Their goal is to create it really high-performant, so with 60 frames per second. So, and also it's still in development. You can take a look at the project, you can try it, you can send them feedback, and they will take a look at it. And then I will take a look at some kind of developer utilities, which are really good for me for development, because they make my project even better. So one thing is writing tests. I really love writing tests, and Dart has a library for it. It's called, it's a package, it's called test. So you can really easily write tests for your application. You just only add a dependency for the test library to your pubspec YAML, and then you are able to use it. With the test library, you can do lots of stuff. You can group your tests, you can name them, you can run asynchronous tests, you can do really lots of stuff. Here you can see an example of a simple test, which like tests that the name of the person is Jana. Really simple. The other thing I really like is the writing documentation. Maybe now you could like say that code should be like self-documenting, that I should write the code which is nice, and when I take a look at it, I know what it is. But writing documentation has other benefits, and the benefit is that I can like generate a really nice clickable HTML with with some kind of tool, which is called Dart doc in Dart. Then I have really nice documentation for my project, and other developers can take a look. Or when I write, for example, a library, I should also provide a documentation, because then the documentation is generated from my source code, from the documentation commands. And also, there is a really nice tool for helping you to develop your Dart application. Because sometimes you find out that you have some kind of problem with your application, that it takes a lot of memory, that you need to debug the memory leaks, that, for example, you want to see which code was run, and so on. So there is a tool which is called Observatory, and when you run your Dart project, the Observatory is also run on some port, so you can take a look at it, explore, you can see which part of code was run, you can see the information about memory and about other stuff, and you can debug your application through it. It's a really powerful tool, and it really helps the developers. And there is lots of other things I could talk about. For example, library called Stagehand. Stagehand is a library, it's a command line application tool, which when you will run it, you can generate a project template for your new project. So for example, if you want to start writing command line application, you can use Stagehand to generate a really nice project template, which you can use in your favorite editor, and you can start writing command line applications. Same is for server side, there is a template for server side, template for a client side, and so on. So this is a Stagehand. Then there is a really nice formatter for Dart, which formates your code according to Dart style guide. This is the guide, how you should write your code, how you should format it, and so on. And this formatter is really powerful and will help it with it. And also there is a tool which is called Grinder, which is a library which you can use for automating your workflows. For example, if you are doing a build, or you are having a test, or generating a documentation, you want to automate these tasks. So there is a Grinder tool for it, Grinder library. And if you want to take a look at the more libraries which are available for Dart, or this is always the first place where you will search for your Dart library, take a look at the pub.dartlang.org, try to type something in the search field, and you can see the libraries which are available for your problem. So now maybe you can say, Dart is cool, but why should I use it when there is a JavaScript with lots of libraries and frameworks? For me, I can see only this. For me, Dart development is, I just sit and write the code. Because with Dart, I can focus on my problem, on the algorithm. I don't have to solve issues with my package manager, with my editor, with libraries, and so on. So it makes me much more happy developer. And also with Dart, I can write client-side, server-side applications, so I can share some code among client-side and server-side. And also, as I said, I really love writing command line applications with Dart, because then I can create a command from that. So I have some command, I will write some commands to my console, and it runs my Dart script, which is some console application, and it can do a lot of stuff. Well, and maybe now you are asking how to start. Right now, you are here, sitting, how to start right now. So, the official website of the project is dartlang.org, and there is also an online editor, which you can use for trying some snippets of code, you can use it also on mobile. It's on the address dartpad.dartlang.org. You can try it right now, there are some prepared projects which you can run, you can play with it, and so on. And also, if you want to really try Dart, we can try it together today. because from 4 p.m. I'm having a workshop, Code Lab, and we'll take a look at some very basics of Dart. We'll try everything, and then we will jump directly to the Code Lab, and we will try to write a server-side application in Dart. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Support operator overloading?
Operator overloading, yes. Meta overloading, no, because we have the type, so it doesn't make sense. But for operator overloading, yes. So we can overload for example, for vectors, we can overload plus, and it's really nice. So yes. Another question? Okay.
Is it a replacement for JavaScript or something like preprocessor for JavaScript?
Okay, so if Dart is like a preprocessor for
Dart is Dart a replacement for JavaScript or is it something like preprocessor for JavaScript?
So the question was if the Dart is like a replacement for JavaScript. Well, it's up to you. For me, like developing in Dart makes me really proactive, and as I said, I can focus on the code. I just don't have to solve other stuff. So for me, it's like replacement of JavaScript because I don't have to write in JavaScript. I can write in Dart, and then I will compile it for client side. And yes, but I would not say it's completely a replacement because it's the other thing you can use. You can select. You can use JavaScript or you can use Dart, and you will compile that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Another question? Okay, thank you.
Do you lose new JavaScript features when you code Dart for the client side? Like, I can create a buffered file in JavaScript, then create a URL for it for the client side. Can I do that in Dart? It's a new JavaScript feature.
So the question was if I'm using more Dart than JavaScript, and the other part of the question was?
I said that if I use Dart, do I lose new JavaScript features?
Now at the moment we are still using the old compiler, but they are working on the new compiler which will create much more nice readable code. So now we are using the old, probably I think we are using the old JavaScript because it works in every browser, and probably I think that with the new compiler they will use the newer features because it makes sense. Thank you. Another question? No? So thank you very much then.